Imagine waking up one morning to see a bright red dot in the sky, Mars. But instead of staying safely millions of kilometers away, it's getting closer and closer until it's on a direct collision course with Earth. What would happen if Earth and Mars, the only two planets in the solar system that could potentially support life, crashed into each other? Would humanity survive? Would a new world be born from the wreckage? Or would this be the end of everything we know? Let's find out. Earth and Mars are neighbors in the solar system. On average, they're about 225 million kilometers apart, but that distance changes because both planets orbit the Sun at different speeds. Earth, larger, with a diameter of 12,742 kilometers, covered in oceans, atmosphere, and life. Mars, smaller, with a diameter of 6,779 kilometers, a cold desert world with thin air and rusty red soil. Under normal conditions, their orbits are stable, they'll never naturally collide. But what if something changed? A rogue planet, a gravitational disturbance, or even an unstable sun could alter Mars's orbit, sending it straight toward Earth. If Mars started drifting toward Earth, we'd see it with the naked eye months before impact. At first, it would look like a bright star in the night sky. Then it would grow larger, turning into a glowing red disk that outshines the moon. As it gets closer, the gravitational pull between Earth and Mars would distort tides, causing mega tsunamis and earthquakes. Satellites and space stations would be thrown off orbit. Both planets' atmospheres would begin interacting, creating strange weather phenomena. By the time Mars is only a few 100,000 kilometers away, Earth would already be tearing apart under the stress. The actual collision would be one of the most destructive events in cosmic history. When Earth and Mars finally smash into each other, the energy released would be equivalent to trillions of nuclear bombs going off simultaneously. Temperatures would soar high enough to melt rock, vaporize oceans, and incinerate the atmosphere. The entire surface of both planets would be wiped clean, no cities, no forests, no life. This impact would be so violent that it might even blast chunks of both planets into space. After the chaos, what remains? Two main possibilities. 1. Merger into a super-planet globe plus red circle Earth and Mars might fuse into a single, larger planet. Let's call it Terra Mars. This new world would be bigger than Earth, with more mass and stronger gravity. The collision would reset the planet's surface. Everything would be molten rock, eventually cooling into a new crust. If enough atmosphere and water survived, life could eventually return, but it might take millions of years. 2. Destruction into a debris field collision. The impact might be so strong that neither planet survives intact. Instead, both would shatter into fragments, forming a giant debris disk around the Sun. Over time, this debris could clump together into smaller planets or moons. Earth and Mars might be replaced by a ring system, similar to Saturn's, but made of rock and dust. Either way, humanity wouldn't survive the immediate destruction. The moon would be caught in the chaos too. Depending on where it was during the impact, it could be smashed apart by flying debris, be pulled into the collision itself, survive, but orbit the new planet or debris field. If it survived, the moon might help stabilize the new world, just like it stabilizes Earth's tilt today. A collision this big wouldn't just affect Earth and Mars, it would ripple through the solar system. Asteroids. The asteroid belt could be destabilized, sending waves of rocks toward the inner planets. Other planets, Jupiter and Saturn, might tug at the debris, reshaping orbits. The Sun. Dust and debris from the collision could dim sunlight, changing the climate across the solar system. In short, this wouldn't just destroy Earth, it could destabilize the entire neighborhood. If Earth and Mars merged into a new planet, life might eventually come back. But it would take an unimaginable amount of time. Stage 1. The new world cools, forming oceans and an atmosphere. Stage 2. Microbial life re-emerges, possibly from surviving extremophiles hidden underground or from organic material blasted into orbit. Stage 3. Over billions of years, evolution creates new complex organisms. But humans? Civilizations? Cities? Those would be long gone. The good news is, a Mars-Earth collision is extremely unlikely. Their orbits are stable, and no known forces will bring them together naturally. However, in the distant future, billions of years from now, when the Sun expands into a red giant, all bets are off. Gravitational chaos could throw planets into each other. So while it won't happen in our lifetimes, in cosmic timescales, planet-sized collisions are inevitable. In fact, scientists believe that Earth itself was formed through a similar collision, when a Mars-sized object called Theia crashed into the early Earth about 4.5 billion years ago, creating the Moon in the process. So in a way, our very existence is the result of a planetary collision. So, what if Earth collided with Mars? Humanity would be wiped out instantly. The planets would either fuse into a new super-Earth or shatter into a debris field. The solar system itself would feel the effects. And after millions, or billions, of years, life might re-emerge in some form. It's terrifying, but it also shows us how fragile, and yet how resilient, the universe can be. Our world was born from chaos, and someday, chaos could reshape it again.